this morning as we're switching over to the new platform, and I see lots and lots of people are just jumping in right now. So we've got another exciting one for us here today. Again, you're stuck with just Alistair and I. Logan's off doing some conference work. I believe he's in Vegas right now. So we'll wish our best of luck to Logan and the tables. But as always, you've got me, you've got Alistair, and we've got some exciting things here for today. I realize it's just 11:01 now, and I can still see a couple people are making their way over from the Google Meet. So I'll maybe give one or two more last minutes, and then we'll jump right into the good stuff. Oh, I see lots of familiar faces here. Oh, Stephen, you beat me to it. You knew what I was going to ask, eh? I love that. Maybe I'm getting a little bit like a broken record. We always like to see where everyone's dialing in from, so love to see. We've got some friends here in Detroit. Hopefully you guys are not going to get hit with that giant snowstorm that's coming our way tomorrow. Can you guys believe that? End of March, and we're allegedly going to get hit with a foot of snow over the next 2 days here. So hoping y'all are staying warm and avoiding that mess because it's spring. We should all be enjoying that. Ooh, Dawn in Vegas. I am jealous. We see Sacramento, Seattle, Massachusetts. Please don't make fun of me for my pronunciation on that. I always get it wrong, Adam. Oh, fellow Canadian in Toronto, Ohio. Love to see this. This is awesome. All right. See, we got a couple people still making their way over. Holy smokes, got 20 people over in the other one, so I'm sure they'll start making their way here. Oh, Rob, that's just mean. Bicycle riding weather. Maybe one day for us. Maybe one day for us. All right, with that, we'll slowly let the other folks still make their way in from Google, but for all of you who are here and ready to rock and to learn, let's go dive in here. So, as always, you got those beautiful three faces. Alistair's the main magician here, sales engineer. Logan, our other enterprise account executive, and then myself, kind of walking you through, setting things up. But for what we have today, we've got two main items that we're looking to cover. And this, again, is kind of coming from the feedback that we're getting, as well as taking some actual customer feedback. I know that we've been rolling out a lot of new things, automations, AI, and processes. So we actually took a look through some other partner data as well. And one of the things that we are finding that SMBs are getting a ton of value from is this missed callback feature, right? Or sorry, this missed call text back feature. So we've got tons of good news from Neighborly on how that's been helping their thousands of locations. And so it's something we wanted to bring to everybody here and who this is really powerful for. And I'll give you a quick example before I let Alistair work his magic. Think of yourself, right, as a customer. If you were going to potentially go and buy, maybe a roof is a bit of a drastic answer. So if you have a plumbing issue, right, what are you going to do? If you're not a plumber yourself, or if you're not that handy like I am, you're going to open up Google and you're going to start looking for those plumbers. Well, what happens when the first plumber that we see at the top of Google, we give them a call and we don't get an answer? What does everybody do? You don't have to put it in the chat. I know the answer. We're all going to go to the next business and call the next one because we have a problem that we're looking to get solved now. With the missed call text back feature, instead of that customer not choosing your client and going to the next option, they can get this text message immediately after that call is missed, regardless of what time, keeping that potential customer in your funnel and not needing to go look at the next business, even when you're not necessarily able to be there, and then having the AI text back and forth for you if it's needed. So we'll cover that. Really good for anybody who is emergency services, home services, professional services. Think of any business where when a customer calls, they're looking for a solution, some kind of way to solve their problem. It's a phenomenal feature. And then this other one here, number 2 that we'll be focusing on is how you can integrate your meta lead ads right into the CRM so that way you can create some automated follow-up and lead nurturing. When we took a look at the most common requests that our teams are getting when it comes to some of these new integrations, most of you are often running meta ads in tandem with the other marketing efforts that you're supplying for your clients. But it seems like we're running into this one. Oh no, that is good to know, Douglas. Here, I've got a setting on it. I'll quickly get into this and shush myself. I'm trying to mute. I think it's actually getting picked up from one of my colleagues who's just on a call here. So maybe I'll talk like this, see if it's any better. But really what we're going to be covering on this last piece here when it comes to the meta ads is how you can take that information, put it right into Vendasta so you can have those automated follow-ups. Again, speed to lead being key here, and nurturing those customers as soon as they're reaching out and filling out that form on Meta and then powering the rest of your marketing ecosystem. So I apologize again for the background noise there. I'm going to mute myself and I'll stop sharing, and we will let the man, the myth, the legend, Alistair, come on stage here and walk us through both of these programs. And I think we're going to start with the missed call text back first. So as always, guys, as we're going, if you have questions while Alistair's working his magic, throw them in the chat. I'll do my best to answer them in the chat. And then towards the end, we'll probably have a quick discussion just to cover some of the questions that maybe need a little bit more nuance than what I could do in the chat. But with that, I'll do the impossible for me. Going to be quiet again, guys, and I'll pass it over to Alistair.
Yeah, thanks so much, Dakota. So, bear with us while we kind of get used to this new platform here. Apologies if things aren't maybe as smooth as they were in the last few sessions. But yeah, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, take us into the platform, and we're going to check out this feature. Now, this in and of itself, this isn't really so much a workflow or an automation, but it is incredibly valuable for the reasons that Dakota mentioned. Just as we can kind of, stop the shop and engage with folks immediately rather than have them, kind of move on and potentially talk to competitors. So share my screen here. And many of you might be familiar with this, but I believe that a lot of folks perhaps aren't aware of this functionality. It's just built right into the business app. All you need to have is either the Inbox Pro product active or the Inbox with SMS without the AI component. Though you would be limited in terms of like what you can do after that text message is sent if you had sort of that lower tiered version of Inbox active without the AI. But to turn this on and set this up, all we need to do is go into the administration menu of the business app here, and then jump into inbox settings. And then click on configure in the phone and SMS section here. And it's going to take us to a page that looks a bit like this. And here's what we want to look at. When a call is received, we can change this to, to do a few different things. And for this particular use case, we're going to set it up to send an SMS message. And then, so we can say, oh, thank you for reaching out to Pelican Market. That's just my sort of fake business that I'm using here. Sorry, we missed your call. We'll be getting back to you shortly. If you have any questions, let us know here and we'll reply immediately. And now the beauty of this piece here is this is going to be wired up to our SMS AI. So the exact same AI engine that's powering the Inbox Pro AI web chat is going to be powering this SMS piece as well. So let's just break down sort of how this is going to go here. So I'm maybe a plumber. Well, that's a classic example. I'm under a sink, I'm fixing some pipes, whatever it is. I get a phone call. I can't pick up because I'm busy. We set our telephone up to forward that call to this number here, our sort of randomly generated business app phone number. That call gets forwarded, this workflow kicks off, it sends that person the SMS message. So as soon as they, it finishes ringing on their side and they don't get an answer, their phone lights up with this text message, and then it's prompting them to reply to that message, asking whatever questions they have, that sort of thing. Then the AI is going to engage and it's going to collect their lead information. So it's going to ask them for, their name, a bit more information on what they're looking for, that sort of thing. And then we've captured that lead, we've got them in the CRM, and we can then follow up with them after the fact. Now, another important thing here is we just want to make sure that we have the SMS response enabled for our chat receptionist. So once we've got the missed call text back set up, so we select send an SMS message, we write out our message here, and then we set up our call forwarding with our telephone vendor, whoever that is. Finally, we also need to ensure that the AI is going to respond, because I believe by default, when you activate a new account, it's set up like this. So you just need to flip this setting to reply with AI. And then if we want to, kind of double check how our chat receptionist is set up, that sort of thing, we can definitely do that. So, additional instructions, knowledge base, all of that stuff that we know and love. And that's more or less how it works in a nutshell. And then we can also kind of create automations to add opportunities to our pipelines, to create tasks, to follow up, things like that, things that we've covered in previous sessions. And on that note, we are going to be setting up a repository for the recordings of previous sessions, just as I know that that's something that we've been asked about a few times. I see a few folks in the chat saying that they can't find it, so I'm just going to quickly go through this again. So if we go into administration here, guys, and then we go into inbox settings, and then we go into configure next to our phone number here, then that should take you to this screen right here.
But this gives a really solid idea that you're not locked into.
And I mean, I know in terms of our platform, Mountain Media, we do try some sort of experimental things, so the UI might look a little bit different. So just to kind of ensure that we're going to the right place, because this is a live feature, I'm actually just going to quickly stop sharing my screen, pull up a non-experimental version of the platform, and just make sure that we're all in the right place there.
And just while Alistair is doing that, I know there was a few people in the chat here who were mentioning that they weren't able to see it. When Alistair was just kind of going through that, were you able to find that same spot?
So just getting this account pulled up here. Share my screen again. I can figure that out. There we go. So just going to jump into one of these accounts here, open in the business app. Now, this is kind of a standard production, as we call it, version of the platform without any experimental stuff, just as Mountain Media, as we were looking at before. Our product team does like to kind of test out some things internally before they roll it out to you folks, our partners. And yeah, it looks like it is sort of the same setup in the production version of the platform. So if we go into administration and then inbox settings, and then at the top here, we're going to see phone and SMS, provided we have the right version of Inbox Pro active. So we'll need to have, which one was it? Yes, this was the account. So we need to have like the full-blown Inbox Pro AI lead capture and messaging for web chat, SMS, and more. So that version of it with the red icon, that's the one that we need to utilize this functionality.
Hey, Alistair, we've got a couple folks in the chat here, and I think I see where some of the confusion is coming from. In chat, let me know if I'm going down the wrong path here. So what you guys are seeing, and Glenn, thanks for writing this out here. So you see the option of when a call is received but not missed. So what that is referring to, and Alistair, call me out if I've got anything wrong here, but we need to set up the call forwarding if you're using an external number with that third-party system. So it should be, depending on who you're using, like if it's a Ring Central, it's got a really easy option within Ring Central to pick a number to forward to. So that way, once you set up the call forwarding from their primary number that they're using today, if that call gets missed, it goes to here. So we don't need to have a missed call on this number. It's just when a call is received, because the only time it gets forwarded to this number is when they've missed it on their primary line.
Yeah, so that's kind of up to you folks or your customers. So whoever they're using for their phones, whether that's local telecom or software company like RingCentral, they would just have to set up those call forwarding rules. And we even see some folks kind of have some time-based logic in there as well. So like during business hours, they may be forwarded after 4 rings or something like that. And if it's after business hours, they just forward it immediately because they know no one's going to be there to answer that call. So yeah, apologies for the lack of clarity there, but yeah, so kind of that crucial piece to getting this operational is setting up that call forwarding with whoever it is you're using for your phones at the moment.
Yeah, and I'll quickly add to that. Most phone providers do have that option for call forwarding. It may be different between systems if you've got a number of clients, but almost all of the ones that we've kind of worked with do have that call forwarding option. It's just a matter of getting that inbox number provisioned so that way you can set it up, and then configuring it just as Alistair showed here on the Vendasta side. So it's taking that action that you want once that call is missed. And then I saw there was another question just further up here, Alistair. So will they receive a call on their business phone line and then forward it to the AI assistant number? Yes, exactly. That is the workflow.
And Jillian, to answer your question, I saw you in the chat there. This is meant to be just kind of like a alternative to the AI voice receptionist. So you can either have the AI voice receptionist pick up and do its thing, or we can do this and have that engagement over SMS. That's 120% up to you folks. You're the you're the agency of record there, so you can kind of guide your customers as to which way they want to go. And also, one thing to keep in mind is down the line, the voice receptionist is it's complimentary with Inbox Pro at the moment. However, once that beta period is over, there will be an additional fee for that product, and it isn't going to be the cheapest thing ever, just as we think it's pretty valuable and that there is a pretty significant hard cost for us to run those conversations. So it's going to be like a few $100s per month, or maybe a little bit more. We're still kind of working on zeroing in on that price, but if that 300 or whatever it is that you're charging retail for it, if that's not in the cards for your local business customer, then this is a more cost-effective alternative that they can look at as well. So now go ahead and move on here to our second agenda item, which I know it's something that we've had in our platform for a while, but it's something that we get asked about a lot. So we just thought it would be good to dive into this functionality as well. Or do we maybe want to pause for a moment and dive into some questions on this functionality before we move on to the next? Because I see a few popping up in the chat here. The one question.
Yeah, I was just gonna. Yeah, here. Why don't we address those rather than me just writing responses in the Q&A? So, Tommy, I see you've got a few in here. So, an extension that would be getting voice AI to UK market. I wish I had a better answer for you. Me and another colleague were on a call this morning where they had a very large business who was looking for this. In the future, I know it's something we definitely want to have, but we don't have any timelines yet for when it's going to be available in the UK. Same thing on the SMS side. I know we're working with some of the providers. As I'm sure you know, SMS is very expensive, and there's a lot of legalities behind sending out text when it comes to marketing and sales in the EU. So our team is still working on it, but unfortunately we don't have any firm timelines or expected rollout dates for those pieces. But just know this is not falling on deaf ears. We brought it up again with the team this morning, so we're actively working on trying to find a solution there.
And to add to that really quickly, I might be getting ahead of myself here, but we are looking into some functionalities with WhatsApp as well. Meta do have their own restrictions around what you can use WhatsApp for programmatically. So as in, a machine operating it rather than, a person pulling out their phone and typing out a message. They do have a good number of rules that we kind of need to adhere to there. But that is something that we're looking into, just as we know how WhatsApp is kind of that messaging platform of record for, well, more or less everyone else in the world, not in North America. But yeah, that's something that we're going to likely have some updates for you guys probably later in Q2 kind of thing. Awesome.
Yeah, and then Alistair, you can start pulling up this next one. I see there's a few questions around the pricing. I don't actually know if we have actually had pricing shared with us for how they're going to be going to market with the AI voice once it's out of beta. So I'm not sure where the 300 number is coming from. I don't think it's going to be anything to that extent on the wholesale rate, but I don't believe there have been any firm numbers shared with us yet on the sales team for what those wholesale costs are going to be. I know as soon as we have it, we're going to be sharing it with all the partners, because it's you guys need that information to help continue working with your clients and making sure you're making a good margin.
Just on that point, we're kind of using the beta period to more or less figure out how low we can go with the price, because we know that not 100% of the active accounts are going to use 100% of their allocated 300 minutes of talk time per month. So we want to kind of price it so that we're making some decent margins, but it's also priced low enough so that you folks, our partners, can make some money selling it, and also so it's attractive enough on the retail side of things so that your local business customers are going to want to buy it. So there's kind of a few factors in play. So we're just taking this time throughout the beta period to collect some data and figure out what sort of price point we want to be at. And I believe there are going to be different packages as well. So like if you maybe need more minutes of talk time, you can purchase that as an add-on, that sort of thing as well. Perfect. So I'll go ahead and move on to the next sort of piece on our agenda here, which is integrating our Meta lead ads with the business app through Zapier. And again, as I mentioned, this isn't new, but it's definitely something that we get asked about a lot. So I thought I'd cover it today, and also dive into how we can trigger automations based off of those leads as they come in. So I'm going to jump into Zapier to kick things off, and going to just make a new Zap here, just so we can kind of go through the whole process end to end. I'm going to choose Facebook lead ads as our trigger event here, and then select new lead. And then select our page and any forms that we might have set up, that sort of thing. I'm going to add a step, and I'm going to choose Business App as our Zapier app. Business App. And then we're going to create or update contact as our action event there. And then I'll quickly walk us through the sort of steps to connect our business application as well. So I'm going to click on Connect New Account. It's going to take us to a page that looks something like this. And it's going to ask us for either our partner ID or account ID. Now what that is, of course, actually let me just jump in here. So I'll go back to our sort of demo business that we've been using. And then we're just going to grab the account group ID from the bottom right-hand corner of the business details section on the account. Grab that, put that in here. Yes, continue to business app, and then it's going to take us to a second page asking us to allow the permissions.
They come into the store,
and then we've got that account connected to Zapier.
Is now
And from there, we're going to need to do a bit of additional setup on this step as well, just so that all of our fields are kind of getting pulled in. We'll need to map out our our email, phone number, first name, last name, etc. Basically, all of the information that we're collecting in the Facebook lead ad form. And if we've had a real account connected, we'd be able to kind of see all of those pieces in the form. So let me just see.
And it's pulling more of like the customer facing version of what you saw in the marketplace, but only what you allow.
Let's see if this is able to pull in anything here.
This would be your retail, yeah. So and
then we've got a some example leads here. And then we can just quickly kind of map out our fields here. So we've got all of our different variables that we can choose. So we want to choose our email for our email, phone number, first name, last name, so on and so forth. And then here's another piece that I've seen a lot of folks kind of get stuck on is adding additional fields beyond what we have in the configuration here. So we've got this section called additional fields, and in here we can basically choose from any of our available CRM fields that we have set up in that particular account, including our custom fields. So like we've got one called, I believe it's newsletter opt-in. So this is a custom field that I'd added to that account previously, and so we can write to any and all of our CRM fields. And then there's also a few additional pieces that we can look at here as well. So things like additional search fields. So by default, it's going to do a dupe check using the phone number and the email. If it finds a match, then it's going to update that existing contact. And if it doesn't, it'll create a new one, of course. And if we wanted to maybe do searches on additional fields to kind of dupe check against other things, maybe the name, that sort of thing, we can include those here as well. And then there is also the option to associate a company if we want. That's maybe a bit more advanced. I think for the most part, folks are typically only going to want to create things at the contacts level with this Facebook lead integration here. So once we're kind of happy with the setup there, we then just want to run a test and everything as we would with Zapier. And then on the business app end, we can then kind of create automations based off of these leads as they come in. So if we go into automations, we could do something like when a contact is created or updated, is created or modified, pardon me. And then we're going to want to add a condition to this. Record source contains, and by default, it's going to show as Zapier. That way, we're only firing this when we get these contacts in from Zapier through our integration with the Facebook lead ads. And then we can do things like, create an opportunity. And then maybe make a sales task as well. And choose who to assign it to. Kind of all the standard stuff that we're used to in here. And then, we can do all sorts of stuff with this. We can send out email campaigns. We can use AI to generate follow-up SMSs, all sorts of wonderful stuff. And that's, again, kind of stuff that we've covered in previous sessions. But yeah, I just wanted to showcase how we could, pull these leads in using that Zapier integration there. Again, not new functionality, but it is extremely powerful, and it's something that we'd love to see more people using. So I'll take a pause for a moment here, as I feel like there's perhaps some questions in the chat there, and I also do want to apologize for any feedback or background noise. Maybe just a bit of a growing pain with this new platform. We'll be sure to have that sorted for you guys next time. Maybe if that just means we kind of shut ourselves away in a conference room or something rather than being out on the floor here.
Yeah, thanks for the understanding there, guys. I know it's never fun to be listening to a call with tons of background noise. It makes it very difficult to listen to anything. So just to quickly address, because I know we've had a few comments going on in here. So let's just start. Yeah, Glenn, good idea. I think we are going to have it in some buckets based on that usage. Lakita, I love that idea. So I actually went ahead and added it to the catalog. So Alistair, one of the questions was, can we eventually show how we can integrate the Google LSA ad right into Vendasta's automations, likely for some follow-up there.
Mm-hmm.
And then Adam, an interesting one here. I don't know if we're going to be able to do what he's looking for when it comes to getting the Shopify data into the executive report. But I think we should be able to show down the road here how you can take those contact and customer lists from Shopify and get them into the Vendasta system, so you can continue to do some lead nurturing.
Yeah, so that I think would be actually a great sort of session to focus on down the line. Just like, hey, if we have a customer that's using Shopify, what can we do? Because there's a few different things that we could potentially look at there. To the point of like pulling in contacts into the CRM, so we can perform those sales and marketing activities that way. To potentially some additional things as well. Just because I personally quite like Shopify. It's a very powerful platform, and it's also another Canadian company, which is great. Yeah, definitely want to dig into how we can best support our customers that are using them as their website and e-commerce provider.
Yeah, and then I see that we've got two great comments here. So will we get a link to the replay? Are you recording these? So I have some great news for us. I know Alistair kind of teased it at the beginning, and I made a quick mention of it in the chat, but just because we've had a lot of moving parts, what we're looking at here, guys, is we want to take all of these videos, all of these sessions that we've been doing, and getting them added actually to the Vendasta YouTube page. So this way you guys will be able to access replays as much as you want. So we're just trying to work out with SQL if we can find, can you imagine that? An automated way where we can take these sessions and have them all getting uploaded. So in the next, we're hoping here within the next week that we'll have everything that we've covered so far on the Workflow Wednesday sessions on the Vendasta YouTube page. And you guys will be the first to hear about it. As soon as we have it, we'll send you guys a notification just letting you know we're live on YouTube, and you're able to check out all the previous sessions there. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Marketing will kill me if I don't mention that, and they hear it on the recording if I'm bringing you there. So help me keep my job. So I know we've got some extra time here today. So wanted to jump back first to the missed call text back, and I'll spend a second on why I'm so excited about that. So Alistair and I both have the pleasure to work with a number of like really large brands and franchises, Neighborly being one of the really big ones. So as we've been rolling this out for all the Neighborly franchisees, we collected feedback, right? And so these franchisees, think of them as just SMBs that you'd be regularly dealing with. And when we were kind of walking through all of the things that we have been rolling out and helping them with, by far and away, they said the biggest thing that has helped them in their day to day is simply having that missed call text back feature. And the big reason that they're kind of saying is, look, I'm actually doing the work. Whether they're a technician or they're a builder, they're out there in the trenches. They miss the majority of their calls. If we actually take some data, and you can use a few different sources for this, the average local business misses 30 to 40% of their calls. As you can imagine, if you're missing 30 to 40% of your opportunities, you're leaving a lot of money on the table. So the biggest thing that we've been getting from businesses who are enabling this feature is they feel they're actually capturing more of those leads, turning them into customers from their hard-earned marketing spend. So you can imagine how if you're converting on more of these, squeezing more out of your funnel, you're driving down that cost per lead every single time. So with that, I was wondering if anybody had any questions. I know the first step is always finding that business owner who they're using for their phone provider to set up the forwarding. And then really what Neighborly's leaned into is having the AI actually text back and forth once it does that missed call. Because when you have the customer's attention, you don't want to give them any reason to think, I should go look at this other business. Let them make their first choice with you, be the right one, and make it easy for them on the customer journey. And then, and any questions around this missed call text back, even if you're like, hey, could it work for a business like this? How could I apply it here? We want this to be applicable so you guys can all leave today and actually run to market with this and help some clients.
And another piece that I just quickly wanted to hit on for this as well, another piece of value, at least in my mind, is attribution. Because as a local business, if our phone rings, we pick up, we talk to someone, we book an appointment, does our mind immediately go to, hey, this or my local marketing agency, my technology provider, they sent me this lead? Do their minds go there? Maybe, but not necessarily. But if this missed call text back piece fires, and then our SMS AI engages with the leads that way, and then they get an email notification saying, hey, we've got a new lead because the SMS did its job and captured the lead, then that means that as a partner, as a local technology provider, we've now got our name on that lead, and we've kind of attributed that lead to ourselves. So then, that relationship is just that much more valuable in the local business's eyes. So huge thing to call out is just that attribution piece. The more customers, the more leads that we can put our names on, the more valuable we're going to be in the eyes of our local business customers, right?
Oh, look at that, Zach, you're even doing my job for me. Let me know where to send the check. So yeah, Bill, we are going to be getting the recordings here all added to YouTube. So this way you'll be able to see that exact initial setup. If you're a learner via text and not through visuals, I put it way up in the top. The quick configuration is you'll go into business app, you jump into administration, inbox settings, and then you configure. So we'll maybe even try and put together an example of what it looks like on a phone system for setting up the forward, just so you have an example. But I know Alistair and I just don't have access to one of those right now, or else we would have had that here for today. So we'll maybe add that as an additional recording, just so everyone has an example.
And also just on that point, doesn't really matter who you're getting your phones from, whether that's a telecom or a Ring Central, like a software company, whoever it is, they are going to have a support team. So there is someone that you can call, that you can email asking, hey, I want help, I want to set up call forwarding, and they'd be able to guide you through all the steps.
Well, this is a fun one here from Matt. So are clients still married to phone interactions, or is it generational? We'll see if
Great question.
Yeah, we'll see if Alistair and I have different answers here. So I definitely do think there is a bit of a generational split with some things. But where I think the bigger split actually comes is based on the vertical of where the business lies. So I have found in more of the traditional service-based businesses that they want to be on the phone when a customer calls. They know their business better than what they believe in AI could know their business as. They've got the sales tactics, they've got the experience. So I do see lots of our service providing SMBs still really wanting to own that phone call conversation, which is why in many cases they won't actually use the AI receptionist. They'll just use the missed call text back feature to give them some time until they can actually call that prospect back. Alistair, though, I'd be curious to hear some of your experiences.
Yeah, I'd say I'd definitely echo that. Like service-based folks, they have the belief that they know their stuff best, and they're almost always correct. So they definitely want to kind of hold on to that phone piece, and still want to field those conversations themselves. Additionally, other sort of specific verticals as well. They're definitely wanting to hold on to that phone piece, like automotive, for example. Many moons ago, I worked in that industry, and from my understanding, it hasn't changed too much. And those folks, you'd need to be very careful with how you position, like the voice AI receptionist. If you're pitching one like an automotive group on that product, just as they're going to want to answer the phone, because that's kind of that initial first point of contact with the customer. They want to be able to put their best foot forward and kind of start selling, essentially, right? Sell them on the appointment, then sell them on the car. That's kind of how it goes over there. But it could be good to position it as something that they could utilize after hours, however, just as, if that receptionist, that sales team, if they're not in the building, they're at home with their families, then, we can have the voice AI taking those calls after hours, collecting those leads, so then the sales team can follow up the next day.
Yeah, and just to your follow-up there quickly, Matt. So is it primarily on client acquisition or ongoing relationship aspects? I'd say definitely in the service-based industry, it's more on that acquisition side. So when that customer goes to Google and they realize, shoot, I got a leak in my roof and I'm about to get hit with a foot of snow, I need to go and get this fixed. Real life example here for you guys. So go to Google, I call that first person. If they don't answer, well, it's not like my roof is going to wait, so I'm calling the next person for the quote. So that's where we've definitely seen it in the home services side.
Mm-hmm.
However, I would say for the ongoing relationship aspect, having that AI receptionist that's maybe trained to answer general support inquiries can go a long way. But what I've personally found is when I'm needing some answers or I feel like I'm stuck, I probably actually want to be talking to the human. So that's why that missed call text back can be nice if you decide to frame the message as, hey, saw you tried to give me a call. I'm just tied up right now. I'll give you a call as soon as I can, because there is still a huge chunk of customers that doesn't matter how good the AI is, they just want to talk to a real person at the end of the day. So it's all about really knowing that business, their customers, and trying to figure out what that blend is. Because you will have some people where they don't even want to talk to their existing customers. They want AI to do as much as possible. And then you're going to have a very similar business in the same vertical who says, our customer relations are everything. We never want the AI to do that. So really, it's going to come down to the business that you're working with and how their customers like to engage. That's the most important part. And then shoot, Katie, it does sound like, yeah, we covered the missed call text back setup at the very beginning. But the good news is all of these sessions are going to be going on to YouTube here in the next week. So you'll be able to see exactly what we were doing for getting that set up. The biggest part is just going to be making sure whichever phone provider you're using for that primary number is set up to forward to that business app provided number. And then Andrew, good point there. I'm seeing more people want instant responses rather than filling out a contact form. We are by far and away seeing this across the board.
Yes, 100%. Especially kind of with the younger generations now that Gen Z is, graduating from college. They're, becoming real adults now, and making purchasing decisions of their own. Those folks, most of them, many of them, don't want to generalize too much here, but they would prefer not to talk to a person. They would rather talk to a machine, but they definitely want that sort of instant response, instant gratification, and they're likely not gonna, fill out that contact us form and then hurry up and wait. They want an answer immediately because, with how things are going with social media, TikTok, instant gratification, and they want that whole kind of experience across the board. And again, not trying to generalize here, but those are just the trends that we've noticed.
And then, so we had a question in the chat here. So how does the call forwarded works with Marchex call tracking? So I don't know that off the top. Oh, I saw Alistair got excited. Do you? Oh, I'll be quiet
So
here.
I do not pretend to be a Marchex expert. However, I do believe it's possible. So with the way Marchex works is, so we've got our Marchex number on our website, on our Google Business profile, whatever it is we want to use, or whatever it is we're tracking, right? So we call that Marchex number. It forwards the call to our actual phone number. And then if we have this call forwarding piece set up on our actual phone number, not the Marchex number, it would still kind of forward the call after it's missed. Or if it's after hours or after 4 rings or whatever sort of configuration we have on our actual phone system rather than the Marchex piece. I mean, if we wanted to send it straight through using Marchex, theoretically we could, but I would not recommend that because we could for sure tell Marchex just to forward all the calls to the, the voice AI number. But yeah, I mean, that doesn't really make sense. So kind of, 3 different layers there. Marchex at the top, our actual phone system in the middle, and then the missed call text back at the bottom.
Don't have to go with all these.
Yeah, and then Matt, I see you had another comment here. I apologize. I'm not sure if I 100% understand it. I'll do my best to answer, but throw it in the chat if I'm missing the mark by a mile here, and it wasn't even close to what you were asking. So just in case anybody can't see the chat right now, Matt had a point here of, so we're in the position to push it through the paces and even try to identify its current limits before we make promises, correct? So I think you're probably talking about like the voice receptionist there. And what I would say is, yes, I would let the clients know that you've got your hands on some really exciting new technology that can help their business, but it is still in this beta phase where we're working out the kinks, still optimizing it so it can work even better for their business. So I'm always of the nature of, it's better to be transparent right up front from the beginning rather than trying to explain it down the line if something necessarily didn't work as well as we were initially hoping for. So I would lead with transparency that you are coming to market with them with some really cutting edge stuff, and it's frankly so new that there's still some pieces being worked out, but you're going to be the one to help them stay ahead of all of their competition. Let me know if that was close to what you were looking for there, Matt, or if I missed by a mile. But I still, folks, until Vendasta has removed that beta piece around the voice AI, I would be letting the customers know that.
Absolutely.
Because that way, if there is things that are going wrong, you've kind of set that expectation of, this wasn't going to be perfect right out of the gate. We're going to work through some of these pieces, but it's only going to get better and better. And I find it's a little hard to backtrack to say, well, hey, it's in beta here if something goes wrong. But if you start with that, you'll often actually find some of these businesses, they'll work with you a little bit more. Meaning, well, hey, if you've got something new that you think can help my business and you're choosing to help me with this, I'm fine with giving you some feedback so we can make it better. But it's hard for them to do that if they don't realize that this is just the first slice of the technology.
And kind of build upon that, if we're going to be transparent with folks, like, hey, this is brand new, cutting edge, state of the art, whatever you want to call it, make sure that they're giving you feedback. So if they run into situations where things maybe don't quite go exactly right or anything like that, definitely make sure that they're letting you know. And then if it's not too much trouble, please pass that feedback along to us as well, as that's the only way that's, not the only way, but that's going to be a huge help when it comes to us kind of making this solution the best it can possibly be.
Yeah, that's great there, Matt. Exactly. Yeah. And that's another really good way, in case anybody hasn't tried that, if they've maybe got somebody on the fence, is saying, well, because this is so new, and especially if you haven't sold it before, telling them that you'd like to build a case study, you'd like to build this testimonial, and you think their business would be a perfect fit to help do that. So good advice there from Matt. All right, on that, guys, I know we covered a lot today. Oh, Michael Scott, we got Dunder Mifflin here. Let's just read this out here. It would be cool if you could send some sort of call for workflows to Wednesday workflow signups, where we can submit workflows we'd like to have demonstrated. The group can vote each week. Oh, Michael Scott, I don't know how you got into our back end. I'm not going to completely reveal the secret of what we're working on, but just know We are working on a better collection method for topics for what you guys would like us covering here going forward. So still working this out with SQL for the best way to try and do this at scale and to systematize it. But just know we have been cataloging from all these conversations. We grabbed the transcripts from the chat to see what's been talked about. And there is something very similar coming, is what I will say there. So we'll keep you posted as that's happening, but we know we're kind of just at the tip of the iceberg with these sessions, and there's a lot we can do to add some extra value for you guys so you can run the market with it. And that's going to be part of it. All right. And with that, guys, we survived another